Hello and good evening. Welcome to FLCN. It is officially week 4 post game wrap up. So, week 4 is over. We're moving on to week 5, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's been a lot of shit talking, there's been a lot of events, and a lot of games actually came down to the wire of the Monday night game being the decider of who would win. So, without further ado, let's just get into it.
It's the Trash Player League. Let's get it.
Like I said, week 4 is over. It's the week 4 post-game wrap-up, and we're going to give our post-game analysis. And as we do, the way that we do it, we're going to do the 3 and out. And I don't think we explained it well last time, but the 3 and out works like this. I'm going to give my 3 points on a team, and then I'm going to punt that thing right over to Shawn, and he's going to give his 3 points on the next team. And if we have any rebuttal or anything to add, will add it in the end. But anyway, without further ado, it's time to get into 3 and out. Right now, we're going to start out with our first matchup being Corey's championship team versus FTW. Corey's championship team came away with the victory this week with a score of 119.14 to 115.50. This was an unexpected loss for FTW this week. He was originally projected to score 150, and he fell way short of his projections, while Corey's championship team actually beat his projections by 5 points. So going right into it, we could see right away where FTW faltered. Brandon Cooks did not give him his usual production this week. Brandon Cooks fell short of his projections, and he fell short of what he's been producing thus far this season, with giving only 9 points this week when he's been giving an average of 18 points this season thus far. And as you can see, as you go further down the lineup for FTW, it doesn't get any better anywhere else. The only person that produces for FTW this week is Matthew Stafford, who showed up to play. But the rest of his players seems like they decided to take a break this week. You have Swift with 8 points, and then Travis Kelce giving a lowly 6 points here. So it's no wonder why he took this L this week. I hate to focus on the fact that he lost and focus on what FTW didn't do versus what Corey's championship team was actually able to do. But it reflects in the score here. The score isn't very high for either one of these teams. But you see here that Corey's championship team was able to get a dub. And at the end of the day, a W is a W. So, Shawn?
Yeah, 2 things I just want to say real quick. I'll make it really fast. 38 combined points between your kicker and your defense, and you can't manage to get that victory. That's gotta hurt. And then I just want to say that Brandon Cooks, you're talking about him not giving up his usual performances and his usual numbers. I'm impressed that Brandon Cooks still gives you about 10 points in a game where they absolutely got obliterated and could do absolutely nothing on offense, and he still gives you 10 points. Like this, it was a game where he's showing you what his absolute floor is. And his absolute floor apparently is around 10 points, Mark.
Yeah. It's insane, bro. I don't understand.
I'm still impressed.
Yeah, it's very impressive that Brandon Cooks was able to come away with anything, given the beatdown that they took to the Buffalo Bills defense.
Oh, do you know the first and last name of their quarterback? Because I don't.
Something Mills. That's all.
See, there we go. Something Mills.
All right, let's see if there's anything in the bench players that would have changed FTW's fate. And right away, we see that there is something that would have changed his fate. Had he started Jalen Hurts, who had 30 points sitting on his bench, he would have came away with the victory this week. But he did not, so he took the L. And that's pretty much the only thing that would have changed this victory at all. So we're going to move right along. And Shawn, who's up next?
It's looking like your player got hurt. Versus Raw Dog Supreme. That's where we're going next.
All righty. All
right. So your player got hurt. Put us up 138.6 to 108.16 for Raw Dog Supreme. That's a 30-point victory, large margin of victory here. The original
largest margin of victory this week.
Oh, is it? Okay. And then you have the projected original had Raw Dog Supreme winning. And before I even get into this, I'm just gonna bring up an interesting stat here. That's right. We keep his stats here. So Raw Dog Supreme has had the most points. He's had the largest margin of losses in the league since the league has started. This man is getting outscored by his opponents by 124 points. It's only been 4 games. Now we all know why they call him Raw Dog Supreme, Mark. Look, man, he's not the one going Raw Dog, apparently. That's what I will say. But yes, I guess he's just known for getting blown out at this point, Mark. 30-point margin of loss for him is just normal, regular day in the park, Mark. So let's go ahead and get started here. It seems as though, I want to point out that it seems as though your player got hurt finally has found his quarterback. I said the man needs to find a quarterback. In this week, lo and behold, Mark, he has a quarterback and somehow his team wins. It's not a coincidence here, Mark. Tyler Heineke gives him 33.4 points, even though Russell Wilson puts up 25. It's like I said, your player got hurt, seemed to have been losing these games by 10 points, these little small margins of victory for the other players. And he's been, a quarterback shy of a victory almost every week. He's got 33 points from Tyler Heineke. He's got a victory. So no accident there. Let's look a little deeper. And somehow, some way, with his running back situation, with Najee Harris and Trey Sermon, he was able to keep pace with Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor. And if you're going to be able, and these guys were, Trey Sermon, he got late in the draft, okay? Very late. And for him to compete with these running backs, with somebody who was drafting running backs out the gate from the draft, says a lot. So the fact that he was able to damn near break even in this department, in the running back department, is what also helped towards his victory. So I just wanted to point that out because that's a big deal when you can draft guys that late and they still hold up. So point 3 is going to be the flex position, Mark. Clearly, this is where the game got busted open. You have Deontay Johnson back from his slight injury. You have Claypool out, and what does that turn into? 24.2 points for Deontay Johnson. Chris Carson giving you 4 points at a flex position. That is not going to do it in a flex position, not in this league, Mark. We have too many people that are getting great production out of their flexes. And if you're only going to get 4 out of your flex, you're going to lose. But yes, that's definitely the difference maker here. I know Ricky's got to be happy. He talks about, he's a Seattle fan, but he talks about how trash they are all the time. So I think it's not to his surprise that, he ends up winning to the count of Chris Carson giving up 4 points.
Yes.
So go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention out that you say Chris Carson only scoring 4 points. That was less than both of these teams' kickers.
Yes, which is it's pretty crazy, right? You can't have your flex getting less than your kicker, not unless that kicker's putting up 15 or 20.
Right.
I mean that's 10 right there. But still, you want more than that from your flex position.
Yeah, and I will agree with you when you mention the flex position. Deontay Johnson outscores Chris Carson by a point total of 20.10. Like, there's absolutely nothing you can do in that situation. So,
all right, we take a look at the bench now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see if there's anything on the bench that would have changed his fate. Looking at it, no, not really. Well, Schultz would have went a long way to help. And at this point, based on what we've seen production-wise from Kyle Pitts, I do not understand why you continue to go to the well of Kyle Pitts. You have had 3 weeks straight of Kyle Pitts, I do believe, with a failure to get more than 8 to 9 points. So why would you go back to him in this situation? Let's see here. All right, so Kyle Pitts had 12 points in week 2, but 5 points in week 3 and just 7 points in week 1. This is not a guy that I would go back to, especially if I have Schultz on my bench, who has been relatively performing, I believe, under the Dallas offense. And just take a quick look here. Yes, we have 26 points just last week and 17 points this week. He did have a low point total in week 2, though, to be fair.
Yes. I mean, you got to, at this point, you're just holding on to a name instead of starting who you should start. But I tell you this, you can ride that Pitts train right into the fucking ground, right into an early grave, Mark. That's what it's looking like right now. And there was another thing I was going to say here.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this.
The flex position, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, real quick. What does it say? What does it say next to it? Does it say WR and T next to it?
Yes, it does.
It does. There is. I'm just mentioning it again, Mark. It seemed like nobody wants to play a tight end in a flex position, even though they're holding on to 2 tight ends.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but it is the nature of the beast. Tight ends don't usually score that high, so people tend not to start them. But if you don't have that much faith in your running back situation, then you need to start your tight end over these other guys. I will say this though, if Raw Dog keeps raw dogging out here, he's going to continue to get clapped.
He said, That's terrible. That's terrible. Absolutely. He probably need to go see a doc for what's happening to him right now. Whew. Yeah, keep getting burned, Mark. That's what they say, right?
It's getting rough out here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave it alone. What we see here right now is a complete failure of draft strategy. The draft strategy was a bold one to take in getting constant running backs and waiting so late to get wide receivers and taking Kyle Pitts so early, who was unproven. And I appreciate the boldness of it. If it worked, it would have worked. But alas, it didn't. And we are now seeing the implosion happen right before our eyes.
Yeah, Mark, and I want to point out then, since we're talking about it, 35 combined points for those 3 running backs that he took early.
Wow. That's not good.
Can't be it.
No, that can't be at all. So we're going to move right along. And the next matchup we have is We Not From 750 versus Reese's Buttercup team. We Not From 750 scored 132.62 to 132.72. This is the lowest margin of victory we had this week, with just 0.10 being the difference here. Now, going into it, Reese's Buttercup teams, Patrick Mahomes, always the savior, and I see why he's her number 1 pick. 41 points he scores to Aaron Rodgers' 26.62. And going further down, Terry McLaurin absolutely goes in, Captain Insano, with 123 yards and 2 receptions on just 6 targets. This guy, he did it all that day, and he gave Reese's Buttercup team the 30 points, 0.30 that she needed. And here's a little tidbit that I want to mention for everyone out here. Reese's Buttercup team claims that she accidentally dropped Kareem Hunt, and so
here we go
for a kicker, or she claims that the computer did it by glitch. I don't know any computer that does that, but if she say so, whatever. So it is what it is. What can you do? You know what I'm saying? But a farce is a farce is a farce.
Oh
it
God,
is.
Here we go. you calling her a liar, sir?
I'm not calling her anything. I'm just saying it smells fishy. It
smells a little funny. Okay.
Yeah, it smells funky. But but despite Kareem Hunt rather, she still comes away with the victory here. And the large portion of that, the reason why, is this guy right here, Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette is a thorn in my side, and he's not even on my team. Every week, I watch We Not From 750 start this guy in the flex position, and finally this dude does something. He performs. He gives him 16 points. He outperforms his projections by 2 points. A whole 2 points he outperforms his projections. But guess what? Lo and behold, you want to know what the problem with that is? He shouldn't have been in the lineup in the first place, because if we go down, we'll look and see Devontae Parker outscoring him by a point, and Kenny Galladay outscored him by a point. And guess what? When you only lose by 0.10, you shouldn't have had him in the fucking lineup. Leonard Fournette does not belong there. Like, I don't know why you keep going back to this well. Like, yo, if you know him personally, Rodney, let us know, because we're curious at this point.
Well, let me shoot him. I'm gonna shoot him some bail, Mark. I'm gonna shoot him some bail, man. Maybe he has some inside information, Mark, that Leonard Fournette was going to get the lone start. Maybe he knew that Leonard Fournette was going to get the start. Maybe he had inside information. He is a Bucks fan, okay? Okay, let's just say that he had inside information on that. And let's say that maybe he expected them to have a big lead, and maybe Leonard Fournette was going to do some work. Let's just say that. Okay, that's a possibility. My only question then, Mark, is New York Giants. I know you don't like Daniel Jones, but
at all,
he has shown a propensity to target one guy out of the entire offense. Okay, and since Sterling Shepard was completely out of this game, Mark, and I think they had it was Sterling Shepard. They had another receiver gone. Who was it? Slayton was gone. Literally, it was just Kenny Galladay showing up for work at wide receiver. You mean to tell me that wasn't a juicy enough situation for you to say, you know what, I'm going to start Kenny Galladay instead of Leonard Fournette? I personally think he got lucky by getting 16 points off of Leonard Fournette, but that's just me, Mark. I personally would have started Kenny Galladay out of these people on the bench.
I would have to agree with you here. I do not understand what happened here, but it is what it is. And a loss is a loss, and a win is a win. Charisse moves on and continues to stay with one defeat under her record.
I'm tired of her getting lucky, Mark. But I tell you, man, she's one of the luckiest people I know, and it just continues to show when these wins, somehow she just magically squeaks out.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Shame on you for starting Las Vegas defense. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the lowest point total of any of their opponents. This is the lowest point total that they've held any of their opponents to. And you get what you get, 0 points. This is ridiculous, Mark. Why would anybody have Las Vegas defense right now? Why would anybody have the Raiders defense?
I do not know. We're looking back at the past 4 games for the Las Vegas defense. They scored 7 points, 5 points, 4 points. Looking at that track, and it hasn't been against the greatest of teams.
Look, I'm wrong. 28 points, 27 points, 17, 22.
The one good team that they played is the team that they actually scored the highest on. When they played Pittsburgh and only came away with 5. They played Miami and only came away with 4 points. So why would you think, hey, they're going to play the Chargers, who's been playing well. That seems like a good start here.
4 points against the Dolphins is ridiculous, Mark. If you're not going to get your points defensively against the Dolphins, that's crazy. But I will say I was wrong about the points. So this is the most points scored against them. But seriously, though, I don't know if anybody is looking at Raiders defense versus the Chargers, Mark, and saying, you know what, this will be a good start this week.
Yeah, a good start and a good day to die. Anyway.
Sometimes you just get what you deserve, Mark. I don't know. Go ahead, man.
Right now, We Not From 750 seems very disconnected from his team and his lineup. I hope things get better for him. I just hope it doesn't get better for him when I play him. Either way, we're going to move on. And who do we have next, Shawn?
Yep, I'm jumping right into it, Mark. Usually, me and you, we save our games for the last one. But I can't hold back, Mark. We need to just jump right into this game with you versus what does that say? Indianimals. I wonder when that happened. But anyways, Mark, let's talk about this. You have I Choose Violence versus the team formerly known as King Fornham, currently known as Indianimals. Apparently, there was a wager on this game that somebody lost. Before I even get into it, Mark, I promise you guys, these are not jokes, okay? I'm going through the power rankings. I'm trying to make sure that I get the power rankings done. And I literally have to go through the list to figure out if somebody's name changed this week. I saw the Indianimals change. I didn't know if anybody else had a name change. I don't know what's going on, but can you guys please stop losing to Mark? Please stop losing these bets. I would rather see him pay up money, or maybe his name change. Somebody make a new bet with him or something. I don't know what's going on, but I'm tired of having to go through and look through the list and figure out whose name is going to change this week. This is getting ridiculous. This man is 2-2, and out of both times he made somebody change his name. He only got 2 victories, and they're both on bets. Let's stop this fucking madness right now, okay? Please, can you guys do me a favor? You know what I'm saying? You think it's cool having Mark as a friend when during these times when he gets to brag about how he's making everybody change their names? Huh? All right, you know what? Let's get into it. So right off the bat, you see we got a score of 151.72 to 123.54. If I'm not mistaken, this might be in Indianimals' lowest point total. Man, I feel dirty saying that name right now, but we're gonna go with it. It's got to be his lowest point total of the season, I believe. It's a really terrible week to have this loss. But here we go. I'm gonna jump right into it. Very interesting. The best performance that Indianimals gets, surprisingly, is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold decided he wanted to rush for all the touchdowns this week. So that's what he did. He got two rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, 301 yards. You can't ask anything more of Sam Darnold as your quarterback. He got you 33 points versus Kyler Murray's 25 points. It seemed like Kyler Murray finally has slowed down a little bit for Mark. Somehow he still wins this game. So
may I point out that this was an excellent pickup by Indianimals here, because this was an ad that he just made just this week, and he performs to the score of 33.04.
Yes, I do know he does like Sam Darnold as a quarterback in real life. This really definitely came. His boy came through for him. He came through for him on the pickup for sure. Outscored Kyler Murray. You should win this game. All right, let's get down to it. DJ Moore. See, and that's the problem here. Guess who Sam Darnold was throwing to? DJ Moore. DJ Moore was all over the damn field, Mark. 2 receiving touchdowns, 113 yards, 8 receptions. I mean, how unfortunate for you to have that performance from Sam Darnold, only for him to give all the points to DJ Moore, who is on the opponent's team. You know? And to be clear, I'm coupling this, because this is my second point. I'm coupling this with the fact that DJ Moore by himself outscored Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins. When you draft Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins, where you draft them, or when you draft them at all, this is not what you expect. This is not what you want from them. You would kind of hope that their floor is whatever their projected points are. Not today. DJ Moore outscored both of those guys by himself by 10 points. So that's where we're at here. So that wide receiver setup right there is looking like it's what cost the Indianapolis the game and their former name. It cost them everything. It's pride. Mark, I know he doesn't feel good about this. Darius, how do you feel? Oh, man, I wish you were here. I wish we could patch you in right now to see what kind of things you got to say about this game, or to Mark. There's probably a lot of expletives in there. You know what? Never mind. Let's move on. All right. So for my third point, Mark, third and final point, anything that Derrick Henry may have done to try to help this team win is null and void when once again we go to the flex position, Mark. And what do we see here? Cordarrelle Patterson, Corduroy, I don't know what you want to call him. Just call him a winner, Mark. 34.6 points. I mean, this is the part where I really do feel for Darius, because I'll be honest with you, man. Washington defense is supposed to be a great defense this year. Was supposed to be, right? If I lost a game because Cordarrelle Patterson gets 34 fantasy points as a backup running back, Mark, I'd be throwing shit through the window. I'd be destroying my TV, Mark. I don't know how Darius even survived this without like just losing his mind. I don't even know why he was still talking to you motherfuckers in the group message, Mark. I don't even know why he was doing that, because I wouldn't have been there. Not after Cordarrelle Patterson gets like his second touchdown. I would have been done. I would have logged off. I would have turned the games off.
And he's the number 3 running back through 4 weeks of football.
Yeah, it's really
and number
ridiculous.
8 wide receiver.
It's crazy. You can play him anywhere, apparently. I mean, that goes for fantasy and on the field, apparently. I don't know what's going on here, but I really do hope it stops, Mark. I mean, that's just going to be the hate for the week, Mark. I really hope that this shit does not continue. I'm sorry, Darius. In Cortland Sutton, 7 points. Teddy Bridgewater out. That's the third point there. That flex position, there's nothing you could have done, Darius. Nothing you could do about Cordarrelle Patterson giving him 34 points.
Yeah. Just lastly, before we move on, I would like to point out that James Robinson seems to be coming into form. This is the second week in a row that he scored over 20 points. So, man,
Urban Meyer got a lap dance, and all of a sudden, that man changed his play calling, Mark. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah, he figured it all out once he got a little something, I guess.
That's crazy.
So, now let's look at the bench and see if there's anything that would have changed Indiana's fate. Almost called them another team name. Weird. Anyway, so looking here at the bench, and we see right away that he has Chase Edmonds with 17 points on his bench. That would have not helped. That would have helped him in a flex position. Wouldn't have helped him to a window. And then you have Daryl Mooney, who would have given him an extra 8 points. Like I said, moving these players around, it would have helped and it would have made the score look closer, but it wouldn't have helped to a win. But we look on the.
If you mean to tell me that I would have to start Hunter Renfrow and this is Darrell Mooney, is that his name? I don't even know this motherfucker's name. No disrespect to him, he's a good receiver. But if you got to start these two guys over Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins to win, then dude, that's too rich for my blood, Mark. It would have never happened. Let's just call it what it is. It would have never happened.
Understood. Major points known. But on the flip side, there was quite a few points on the bench as well. And as I say, with all teams, you leave points on the bench, it could hurt you later. Because right now, there are 7 teams tied at 2-2. And so leaving the point total of 20.7 on your bench, while your starting tight end only had 7, may come around to bite you when it comes down to playoff seeding. So hopefully I can figure that out and continue to start the right guys and keep getting these dubs. But anyway, sir, is there anything else?
Nah, man, just indie animals, man. I do feel bad for him, though. I really do, Mark. This is terrible. You ain't have to post that GIF in the group message neither, man. That's crazy.
Why, man? He's an indie animal.
Look, man, I'm
like, you know what I'm saying? Hold up.
Hey, there's no way I would have made that bet. And what would have happened if you would have lost?
Oh, I would have. No, I'm glad I didn't lose, because me calling Pat Beverly a god or whatever the fuck
or Pat Beverly is god. Oh yeah.
That would have made me
your name change. Yeah, come on, baby. You gotta help us out, man. You gotta help us out next time. Help yourself.
That would have made me sick. But alas, Pat Beverly ain't shit, and neither is Darius. So we're moving right along. Alrighty. And lastly, for me, I have Team Lancelot versus Lobaricus Prime. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So Lancelot scores 129.32 to Lobaricus Prime's 131.58. Oh, this was a close game. And it came down to the Monday night game, and Lancelot did not come away with the victory. Lobaricus Prime comes away with yet another victory with a small margin. So, looking here right away, we see that the quarterbacks are just about even. Only 3 points separating them. Josh Allen scores 23.52. Justin Herbert scores 26.28. The big difference here is that Tyreek Hill annihilates both wide receiver positions and the tight end. And somehow Lancelot did not come away with the victory here. It would absolutely make me insane if I was only 3 points shy of a 50-point performance from a player and still lost the game. That is insane. Like, you look at this game and you say, hey, you know that strategy that you had about starting getting the best tight end, getting the best wide receivers in the game, and then that's going to help you to drag you over the field to victory? No, didn't work out. Tyreek Hill gives them 47. Stephon Diggs gives them a respectable 18. And yet Lancelot cannot come away with the victory here, all because of what? The running back position. Right here we see Austin Eckler score 29.50 and Clyde Edwards-Helaire scores 19.40. Absolutely crushing Lancelot's running backs, who only scored 10.60 and 9. And I do believe someone brought it up, Shawn, that you said that the running backs don't get a lot of catches, and that they don't get the perform, and that Austin Eckler was going to probably fall to the wayside under this offense.
This is what I'll say, since I've already addressed it more than once. I will address it one more time. After week 2, I did retract my statement. I wouldn't even say retract it. I said what I said, and it made sense at the time because that's what was shown all last season. And I said that there has been a change in offensive coordinator. There has been a change in the offense. They've lost some players, and they are in a situation where there's just 3 guys that touch the ball: Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen. Surprisingly, Jared Cook got thrown into the mix as well this week. So yes, I did see that comment, Mark, but I also did acknowledge this last week. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. If it was last week, then guess what? Nobody got to see it because we didn't hit record, Mark. But yes,
right.
But
exactly.
Yes, no, I've already addressed this, and I'm saying that he clearly is getting thrown to whenever they need it, and it's happening. It was this last game, with Mike Williams shut down. You got to go to somebody, and it looked like Austin Eckler and Jared Cook were the guys.
All right. So Listen, Shawn, I'm going to have to take a turnover on downs here because I got one more point to make here. And I have a question that goes along with this point. So, how does it feel to have your player, your guy, the guy that you root for every Sunday, beat the shit out of you to a tune of 35.70 points? And despite him going absolutely Captain Insano with 156 receiving yards, 2 receptions, 2 receiving touchdowns, and 8 receptions, and you still lose the game.
Well, Mark, I'll be honest with you. I was sick to my stomach, Mark. First off, I wear my Deebo Samuel jersey every single Sunday. I'm very particular in the jerseys that I buy, Mark, for the players that I like. Okay, I don't just go out and buy anybody's Niners jersey. Okay, Deebo Samuel is part of the new guard, and he's the only person's jersey that I own out of everybody as far as the new team goes. Okay, so yes, as I'm sitting there in my Deebo Samuel jersey, watching my team lose to our fucking arch nemesis, the Seahawks, and I'm watching Deebo Samuel do work. And then knowing that we're just going to end up in a loss because we couldn't stop Russell Wilson. And then in the meantime, I'm watching the points rack up and I'm like, I'm hoping this doesn't bite me in the ass in the end. You know what? There's Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler on one side. There's Mike Williams. I don't even need that much. I should be fine. So yes, Mark, it stings a little bit and I really don't like it. I think it's bullshit. But that's just I mean, Deebo Samuel, this is the second time he's put up 30 points in fantasy.
Listen, well, sir, we appreciate your candor here over at FLCN. Thank you for sharing. It's bullshit, unfortunate, Mark, that you lost this game, but
it's bullshit.
So that's how the cookie crumbles.
That's how I feel. It's bullshit. Should never happen.
All right, let's look at the bench and see if there's anything that would have changed Shawn Williams' fate. All right, and yes, we do see something that would have changed his fate. And it's funny enough that Corey Davis scores 21.10 points for the New York Jets, a player that he picked up just this week. So he picked up this player and
I didn't pick up Corey Davis this week.
Oh, no.
I drafted Corey Davis.
Oh, you did? Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
But
he was a very deliberate draft, Mark. I drafted him late. I want to say maybe like 8th or 9th round. I, maybe chuckled a little bit saying that I got a steal. I got a number 1 receiver on the team a little bit late, and I mean, I did get him and I felt good about it, Mark.
Okay. So you drafted Corey Davis, and yet you did not use him to the tune of a loss.
I mean, Mike Williams he's the leading scorer on my team, not named Josh Allen. Mark, you want me to start Corey Davis over him?
Listen, man, I don't.
What do you want me to do, Mark?
I don't want you to do anything you don't feel comfortable with, sir. You just go ahead and keep doing you. All right. I appreciate it either way. All right. So now, last but not least, we have your favorite team, Big Trust, versus I Love Cam Newton. And I Love Cam Newton. That's such an interesting name there. I wonder how they got it.
Yeah, man, they got to listen to a bullshit team on a bullshit bet. But that's fine. That's fine. I just need y'all to stop making these fucking bets with Mark. I'm really serious. Please. I don't need any more of his smugness coming out, you know what I'm saying, in our conversations on and off camera.
Oh, wow. I've been very humble, sir. Very.
You've been humble. You've been about as humble as you can be on cam, Mark. And that's about it. You know what I'm saying?
On cam? Wow.
I promise you it was not a play on words. You know what? On that note, let's just move on. Because I'm sick of it already. All right, let's get into it. Big Trust versus I Love Cam Newton. I still wonder why. I mean, he got the shit-colored heart there, but that's fine. None of my business. Big Trust versus I Love Cam Newton. 121.96 for Big Trust. 127 .32 for I Love Cam Newton. A margin of victory of 0.36 points. 5.36 points. It's not very much. It's a really terrible way to lose. I mean, I know how it feels to lose a very close match there, Mark. It doesn't feel good at all, especially when you believe you're the better team. So let's get into this. Let's jump right in here. So we have right off the bat, Tom Brady, 10.56 points versus his old team, the New England Patriots, versus 35.02 points from Dak Prescott versus Carolina. Very shocking to see the disparity here, Mark. I'm not even going to lie to you. I thought that the Patriots might give up a decent amount of points to Tom Brady or just a decent amount of points, period, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But apparently Bill Belichick had something in store. And of course, Bill Belichick, in typical fashion, somehow has luck on his side to where it's raining and the weather wasn't the greatest. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott, going against one of the better defenses in the league, supposedly, they just obliterate them, okay? 4 passing TDs. He only had 188 passing yards because Zeke was running all over the place, but 4 passing touchdowns nonetheless, 35 rushing yards. So that is the first disparity right there that is going against against Big Trust right there. That is not in his favor at all. So let's go ahead and move down to the running back positions. That's point 2. You have David Montgomery, who actually gets hurt during the game. Like, it could have been worse. He could have put up more points, but he left early and put up 22 points. I think he played barely 2 quarters, Mark, and he put up 22 points. Okay. Now you add in Dalvin Cook, who just didn't have a game. The Cleveland defense is just great. Okay, so with that said, on the other end you have Aaron Jones and Saquon Barkley. This is where it really hurts Big Trust. 6 points from Dalvin Cook, and you can't capitalize that because Aaron Jones decides he wants to give you 10. And granted, Pittsburgh defense is pretty good. TJ Watt was back, so think that changes what Pittsburgh's defense looks like, but it just wasn't the day for Aaron Jones. No touchdowns is really the big difference. 51 receiving yards, 48 rushing yards, 3 receptions. Clearly he had a fumble in there, but that's what we got there. So you got to capitalize on that. If you're going to have Aaron Jones and Saquon Barkley, go figure. You finally get Saquon to go off and Aaron Jones doesn't give you the points. All right. Wow. So point number three is going to be the kickers. Everything else seems to be pretty evenly matched here. And then you have the kickers. Bass for Buffalo, 16 points, making up for the -1 point that the Rams defense gave him. And when you look at that, that's 50. He got -1 from his defense, but somehow comes away with 15 points between his kicker and his defense versus the 17 points that Tobias got over there, that Big Trust got. So I Love Cam Newton somehow gets everybody else on his team, sans defense, to make up for Dalvin Cook putting up lowly numbers. And it's just enough for him to squeak away with the victory.
So now let's see if there's anything that could have changed their fate. And right away, yes, there is. Tobias fails to start James Conner, who scores 20.60 or 2 rushing touchdowns, 50 yards and 2 receptions this day. James Conner would have changed the entire game, and that would have been the point to victory for him had he started him. outside of that, there's no player on his bench that would have done jack shit for him. So
Yes.
all in all, he started most of the right players.
Because 5 points from Jameis Winston, but would you start Jameis Winston, over Tom Brady in any situation, considering what he's done with the Saints offense? I wouldn't have, Mark, but here's just something to note here. He kind of got stuck, Mark. T. Higgins was unavailable, Mark. T. Higgins was unavailable, and then you have McCole Hardman as his other wide receiver. He had no choice but to start Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. He had no choice but to start all three of them. And to his bad luck there, the Bucs struggled offensively versus the Patriots, and this is the outcome. In other weeks where you get 60 to 70 points from this combination, this is a week where you get, it's looking like 23 points. 23 points from this combination. You living and dying by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. This is what you chose. This is what you wanted. You got your wins from it, and now you got your losses from it. Hey, if I was you, I would have apparently if T. Higgins is going to be in and out of the lineup, I would definitely try to have another receiver to back him up, because clearly this is a week where you wish you could have had somebody in there to offset what could have happened with the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin combination.
Right. So, yes. So that concludes our...
Tobias is trash.
Oh, wow.
Sorry,
that concludes...
That's the old me coming out, Mark. I'm trying to be a new man. What's that, Tobias? You in 8th place, bro? You in 8th place? You in 8th place? I'm in 5th, bro. Hey, real quick, Mark. Tobias asked me a question. He asked me a question. He said, Lancelot, what the fuck is that? Because he's saying that Darius has the worst. Did he say the worst team name or the second?
No, he said the second worst. He said the second worst.
He said my team name was bad. Lancelot, what the fuck does that mean? You know what it means? It means I'm in fucking 5th place and you're in 8th place, Tobias. You know what it also means? It means that my name ain't I Love Cam Newton and my name ain't Indie Animals. That's what it means. It means I have the same name that I originally chose for myself, and it's still there. And right now, I'm in the top half of the league. If the season ended today, I would be in the playoffs. That's what the fuck it means, Tobias. Any more questions?
Wow. Do believe that is what they call in the business a mic drop. All right. So, speaking of placement, as you can see here, we currently have the standings up, and the standings show that the Indie Animals are still leading the pack, even though they have taken their first loss of the season. Reese's Buttercup team is right behind them in 2nd place, and Lobaricus Prime is at 3. And the interesting thing about Lobaricus Prime is that if you look here, his point total for the season is only 511. Out of all the teams that are scored over 500 points, his team is the lowest. So it seems as though so far he has gotten very lucky with his schedule, and it's not about how much his team is actually able to put up. And
the power rankings that I have will reflect that, Mark. I'm just gonna put it out there. It will reflect.
All right. And just like that, we're going to show that We Not From 750 is still the only team through 4 weeks of play has yet to record a victory. And without further ado, let's let Shawn introduce his power rankings. And before he does that, he's going to tell us how the algorithm works.
Okay, so now that I've got it down to a science, very specific about this. I didn't want to put my bias in this, and I didn't want to put Mark's bias in this. So I came up with a point system, basically a ranking. Either you're ranked 1 through 12 in 5 different categories. And using those 5 different categories, I take the average rankings for all 5, and then just start the list from the top going down. So The 5 categories that I use are point totals, so the points scored by your team, strength of schedule, which is determined by how many points people score against you, points versus projected, meaning are you outscoring your projected points, or are you underperforming compared to what you should be doing? Points for versus points against margin, meaning what's the gap between the amount of points you're scoring versus the points that opponents are scoring against you. And then for the last one, I put the standings in there. Where are you in the standings? So where are in the standings actually matter. With that said, here are the power rankings. Okay, at number 1, Indianimals are still there. You know, I feel like it was a different team last week. I can't quite put my finger on it. Something about a name. I don't know. Indianimals are number 1. Reese's Buttercups have moved up from the number 3 spot to number 2 spot this week. FTW has moved down a spot from 2 to 3. And then in 4th, we have myself, Lancelot, is still at 4th. No movement there. At spot 5, I Choose Violence is at spot 5. Mark has moved up 2 spots in the power rankings, which is the biggest move. I Love Cam Newton is at number 6. He dropped 1 spot from last week. Big Trust is at number 7. He dropped 1 spot from last week. Coach Lobaricus Prime is still at number 8, Mark, even though he's in the standings at number 3. Like I said, point total, strength of schedule, all these things matter. Corey's championship team is at number 9. He's still in the same place he was last week. Your player got hurt. Same thing, still at number 10. And there seems to have been a switch at the number 11 and number 12 spot. We Not From 750. Rodney has moved up 1. This is how it works, man. He moved up a spot. And Raw Dog Supreme Cetric has moved down to the bottom spot. And I'll explain a couple of things here. Out of the 5 categories, Raw Dog Supreme is at dead last in 3 of them. So therefore, Rodney gets a little bit of love somewhere, and he's moving up the power rankings by some form of fucking magic. But he's number 11. Cetric, you are now at the bottom of the power rankings. That is all I got for you guys with the power rankings. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I put a lot of work into putting these stats together and tracking everything.
Yes, thank you for your hard work and dedication, sir. Now we're going to move on. And as always, we're going to give our projections for what we think is going to happen in week 5. So right here we see I Choose Violence goes against Reese's Buttercup team. And we're going to click right on that there. I Choose Violence goes up against Reese's Buttercup team. He is set to score 131.67 points to Reese's Buttercup team 124.58 points. I do believe this is the most I Choose Violence has been favorited this season. And looking at it very quickly, we see Kyler Murray going up against San Fran. San Fran's corners have been awful. So this gives I Choose Violence an excellent opportunity to actually outperform Patrick Mahomes, who goes up against what has been the toughest defense to date in the NFL. So Devontae Adams needing a comeback from what he's done the past week with coming away with 0 touchdowns. He goes up against Cincinnati. And Shawn, is there anything that stands out to you before we make our picks?
This is what I'll say. The matchup itself, nothing really stands out to me. But I'm going to bring up some of our own fantasy stats here, Mark. I just want to make it very clear. There's only 2 teams that in our fantasy league that have outperformed their projections over the course of the season. Reese's Buttercups is not one of them. but they are right behind. They are only 0.01 points off of their projections. That's what I'll say. Now, as far as I choose violence, they happen to be one of those teams that's been outperforming 0.83 points. So, according, I'm going to use a little analytics here, Mark, and I'm going to trust that you can finally take down Reese's Buttercups. Please stop her lucky streak. I mean, I don't know. I feel bad because I don't want to root for you, Mark, but I'm betting on you, Mark. I'm going to trust the analytics in this situation, Mark, and I'm going to pick you to win over Reese's Buttercups. Straight analytics.
Listen, looking at the lineup, I would have to tend to agree. I don't like to do that. But you have DK Metcalf going up against the Rams. Like, it looks more favorable on my side than it does Reese's Buttercup team. So, yes, I'm going to pick myself to win this week. Moving on to the next team in the lineup here. You have your player got hurt going up against Corey's championship team. This is a 50-50 chance to win. That your player got hurt is projected to score 120.03 to Corey's championship team 120.49. Excuse me. Looking at it, is there anything that stands out right away to me? Lamar Jackson goes up against the Colts. There will be plenty of opportunity for him to be on the field because the Colts cannot really get their offense going consistently. And their defense hasn't been all that great this year either. So it's weird that you get Carson Wentz and all of a sudden your team just starts to fall apart when he's supposed to be your linchpin. Interesting.
Man, he took a lot of sacks last game standing in the pocket too long. That's what I will say from what I saw. Same old Carson.
Yep. And then you have Heineke going up against New Orleans defense, who New Orleans defense has been a bit of a roller coaster this season. So you don't know what performance you're going to get out of them this week. But you do have Calvin Ridley going up against the Jets. Shawn, anything else that stands out to you or anything at all that stands out to you in this matchup?
What I will say is, the Corey's championship team has opportunity here with, where is it? Oh, yeah, with Philly going against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers, without Christian McCaffrey, although their defense has been playing good, they got exploited last week. There should be some type of opportunity here for the Philadelphia Eagles players on this team to capitalize and try to attack the Carolina Panthers and put them and get them into a boat race here. Philly's offenses look great. I personally think that if he's going to get a great performance out of both Miles Sanders and Goddard, this would be one of those weeks. We'll see how it turns out, but outside of that, nothing really jumps off the page for me here. I think Ricky might be in a little bit of trouble with Tyler Heineke going against New Orleans Saints defense.
All righty. So who do you have winning again?
I'm gonna pick Corey's championship team, and not by a lot, Mark. This is one of those coin toss matchups, but I am going to go with Corey's championship team by a slim margin of victory.
Based on this lineup, Miles Sanders is starting up against Carolina. Right there is where I'm like, okay, I'm out. Nope. I'm picking your player got hurt. And it has very little to do with Miles Sanders' lack of ability to catch. It has everything to do with the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles refuse to utilize him at all. Like, he's getting the same treatment Myles Gaskins is getting, which is funny because you and I made a comparison to the two of them earlier this season, and they're both stuck in the same boat.
Hasn't looked good for either one of them, Mark.
Yeah. Even though Myles Gaskins can actually catch up football. But anyway, moving right along, we have Lancelot versus... Oh, no, excuse me. That was last week's. It keeps going back to last week. All right. Lancelot versus We Not From 750. All right. Will this be the week where We Not From 750 gets his first
Please
dub?
don't let this be the week, Mark. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy that he gets his first victory on. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie, Mark. I've been talking too much shit. I've been talking too much shit for me to lose to Rodney, man. I've been talking too crazy.
Yeah,
I can't have it happen.
If you're the first person to lose to Rodney, oh, you're dead. You are.
Yeah, I can't.
Dead.
I didn't talk too much, Mark. I talked way too much, man. I can't have it happen this week. No.
I will say this is not looking good in several areas. Like Zeke going up against the Giants, that should be food. Robert Woods may actually get some love on a Thursday night, and he's going up against Seattle's defense. Aaron Rodgers going up against Cincinnati's defense. Middle of the road there. But you do have Josh Allen going up against KC's defense. That should be with Stephon Diggs, who he's due. He's due for a 25-plus point performance.
He's due.
So, yeah. And George Kittle is due as well. But Arizona's defense is not Arizona's defense from last year.
Jesus, man, that pass rush is nasty, man. I don't even want to watch the game being a Niners fan, Mark. I'll be honest with you, man. This shit could get ugly fast. Trey Lance might be starting. I don't know. It's just too much going on here.
Yeah, man. This is actually kind of rough. This is actually kind of rough. Who you picking to win?
I'm gonna pick myself, Mark. There's no way I'm gonna pick fucking Rodney to beat me. Not this week. I will say this: Rodney, where he's gonna have trouble, where I believe he's gonna have trouble, is the tight end position. Teddy Bridgewater may not be back yet, and if they have to start Drew Lock versus Pittsburgh defense, I don't see how this is gonna work out for Noah Fant.
Well, listen,
and Mark, I'm not done. Joe Mixon might not even be playing as well. He is listed as day-to-day. They don't know if he's even going to play on Sunday. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the football gods bless me once again. I hope that, these things happen and they go the way they're supposed to. Rodney stays on the bottom of the heap, and Joe Mixon doesn't show up. I need this to work out for me, Mark. I definitely need this, and I do hope he starts Las Vegas defense again.
Well, I tell you what's going to happen. Teddy B is going to play. Like, they saw enough from Drew Lock. They're going to make sure he passed that concussion.
No, Mark. I need Teddy Bridgewater to not show up for work, man. Take some time off. Take some time off, Teddy. You earned it. You know what I'm saying? You're doing good, man.
Teddy B's going to play, baby.
Take some time off. It's just Chicago. Excuse me. What is it? Not Chicago. My bad. Who are they playing? Green Bay. It's just Green Bay. You're just going to lose that game anyway, bro. Don't even worry about that shit. Take your time off. Take your time off. Don't worry about it.
Teddy Bridge, they're playing.
Oh, my bad. Pittsburgh. I'm looking at the wrong spot. Don't matter. Pittsburgh. Okay, so maybe you guys could win that game, but that's not here. That's neither here nor there. Look, you don't want to. Do you really want to see T.J. Watt this week? No, you don't want to see T.J. Watt. You don't want to do that, Teddy. You know what? Let Drew Lock take those sacks. You know what I'm saying? Preserve your health. You want to make it to the end of the season. Go ahead. Just relax, Teddy Bridgewater. Do that for
Teddy
me.
B is going to come out and go earn a contract. Trust me.
He can earn that shit next week, bro. He can earn that shit next week. He ain't got to get it this week.
I'm picking. Listen, man. 0-5 is rough. Like I said it before, 0-3 is rough, but 0-5 is even worse. I don't think I've ever seen it in
even in my year, Mark, I won my first game and then went on my streak, Mark. Yeah, I won my first game.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody be 0-5. Like, I've seen them win at least one by week 5, dog. So I'm picking we not for 750, but for no logical reason. Just because I've never seen anyone go go 5 straight losses to start a season. Like that's
it
wild.
Can't be me, Mark. It can't be me. I've been talking crazy to the bias and shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't have him coming at me for not only losing and then him winning in the same week and then my loss being to Rodney. I can't have this happen, Mark. You understand, right?
Yeah, I understand. Next up is Raw Dog Supreme versus I Love Cam Newton. All right. And looking at it right off top, let's see if there's anything that we like or don't like. Mm-hmm. I don't really see anything that stands out in neon to me. How about you, sir? Well, that going up against the Giants is really nice.
I don't like Jaylen. I don't like Russ versus the Rams. He should be okay. It's Russ. It's a divisional game, but I don't see him doing much more than his projections. If he even if he meets his projection at all. Jaylen Waddle versus Tampa Bay. I just don't like Miami at all, period. We'll see what that turns into, but I can't imagine. I don't know, man. I just can't imagine a world where Jaylen Waddle goes off within that Miami offense. I just don't like that. And Tyler Boyd versus Green Bay, maybe he could, but there's just too many other mouths on that team. I don't like the wide receiver situation. Just off of that, Mark, I'll tell you straight up, I'm going to pick I Love Cam Newton, just purely based off of the wide receiver situation.
All right. You picking I Love Cam Newton?
Yep.
I would have to agree, but I'm picking them for a different reason than you. Dak Prescott going up against the Giants, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on to the next team in the lineup. Come on, computer, keep up with me. And we have Lobaricus Prime going up against FTW. FTW fell to 2-2 this week. Lobaricus Prime is at 3-1. He's currently sitting at third place. And as usual, Lobaricus Prime empties out his entire lineup, so we don't have much to go on his side. But looking at the lineup on the opposite end, and is there anything that stands out to you, sir?
Well, after watching what happened to the Bucks over there in New England, I don't like. I can't. I don't know if I could bet against Brandon Cooks here, but you know what? Ignore that. I'm gonna bypass that. I don't like Michael Pittman versus Baltimore. I just don't like Eddie Colt's receivers. And then, but I do like Marvin Jones versus the Titans. Titans are giving it up this year, Mark. They're just giving it up. So that is going to be a big plus. And if you're going to have Buffalo defense and Justin Tucker as your kicker, those are some big positives there. But all in all, I think his guys are going to score close to what they're projected. And I do believe he can get not massive numbers from Buffalo defense, but he can get some bigger numbers from Justin Tucker. So I do like that. I'm going to look at Lobaricus Prime's bench here. Excuse me, whatever he doesn't have in his lineup. And to be honest with you, he will have a tasty matchup. He's probably going to start New England defense versus Houston. That's what I would do, Mark. So I could see that coming. Maybe he finally starts Gesicki. Who knows what he's going to do here? But all in all, he's got some tougher matchups here. He has Lockett versus the Rams. He's got Eckler versus Cleveland. He's going to be forced to rely on Deebo Samuel versus that Arizona pass rush, and CeeDee Lamb versus the Giants. So, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Buffalo. I don't like any of these matchups that he has to choose from here, Mark. So I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm going to take FTW. I don't see how Lobaricus Prime is going to put together a team with good enough matchups to combat what might happen here. Even though I don't like some of FTW's matchups, I really don't like Lobaricus Prime's matchups.
You convinced me.
I don't know how you feel about Washington right now, but
yeah,
I like Alvin Kamara versus Washington.
You've convinced me.
Yo,
sure.
realistically, Marvin Jones might have 20 points this week versus the Titans.
Last but not least, we have Big Trust, who is in 8th place, as you've pointed out several times, and Indie Animals, who are currently in 1st place, but have suffered their first defeat. Will this be a slide down for them? We'll find out. Big Trust is projected to win this game by 3 points, 147 to 144. Big Trust continues to go with the dual tandem, even though it has cost him a little bit. And so, in both times that he lost, this 3 tandem has been at the root of it for the most part. So, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
You would call that a trio, not a tandem, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. You're right, because a tandem is 2. You are correct. Because I'm thinking of these 2 wide receivers, but then I see Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Man, Derrick Henry versus Jacksonville, Tannehill versus Jacksonville. It looks great, Mark. And then if you're gonna say, to be honest with you, Edmonds versus San Francisco, they're gonna have a lot better luck throwing the ball against us versus running, which would mean more plays for Edmonds to catch out of the backfield. Hawkinson versus Minnesota. I just believe that Hawkinson's going to put up numbers no matter who they play. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards Big Trust. Big Trust to knock off the number 1 team in fantasy right now.
All right, you're going with Big Trust, then I'm going to have to align with you guys. Yeah, I'm going to have to align with you guys. Even though Tom Brady won that game, I'm pretty sure he's pissed off at the way that he did win.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be honest with you. I was going to say, I do believe, to me, this looks like it will be the highest scoring affair of the week.
Yes.
They both have some pretty good-looking matchups here. And they both have some pretty high-powered teams, so we shall see.
Yes, we shall. Yes, we shall. Well, it looks like you and I only disagreed in one matchup this week, and that was
two matchups. I took Corey's championship team. You took your player got hurt, and I took myself, and you took Rodney.
Yes, you are correct. So two teams that we disagreed in this week. So yes, we'll see.
Real quick, we forgot to do something, Mark. We forgot to recap our picks from last week. Even though we didn't hit the record button, I did jot down the teams that we picked from last week, Mark. Mm-hmm. So let's go down. Let me just run down it real quick. I picked Coach versus myself. You picked me. I got that one right. You got that one wrong. We both took Ricky. He won. So we both got that right. I took Big Trust. You took I Love Cam Newton. You got that one right versus me. So right there, we're both 2-1. And then we both picked Reese, which she won. We both picked FTW, which he lost, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
And then, so right there, we're both 4-1. And then I took I took King Foreign Indie Animals, the team formerly known as King Foreign, and you took yourself, and you won that one, Mark. So you finished off with 5-1 this past week, and I finished off at 4-2. So that puts us at, I am 14-10, and you were 13-11. You are one game behind me now.
Yes.
We both got winning records, though. We both are picking pretty good here.
Yes, so it was seen. So that will be the end of our episode that we have for you guys today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. To everybody that is in the Trash Player League, all the teams that are out there, continue to do your job, continue to play well, and continue to talk that trash. And if anybody wants to send a shout out or talk some shit to your opponent for the week, hit us up and I'll get you right on live so you can talk your shit and we can have you air it out so other people can see it. Either way, this is the end of the episode and we have nothing left for you. So without further ado, like, subscribe, and peace.